Pot is legal in Washington state, but how is this going to be seen by the feds? Joining us right now in Chicago is Nishay Sanan. He's federal criminal defense attorney. How do you go through the state-by-state laws and then have the fact that this is still a federal crime?
Well, I think the problem is going to be for the federal government, at least out of the state of Washington, the two U.S. attorneys, is they got to make a decision whether or not they're going to enforce federal laws of the illegality of marijuana on such small quantities, and they don't have the resources to do that.
But we have seen, a lot of folks don't know this, but we have seen a much more aggressive Obama administration than the Bush administration when it comes to medical marijuana and busting down dispensaries.
That's true, but that's the supplier. Again, it's not the person who's actually buying it. Now, given that Washington law allows people to have user consumption, they may target, and when I say they, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the state of Washington, the two separate offices, may actually target the suppliers. But for them to go after the individual people who are buying an ounce of marijuana here, an ounce of there, it's going to be a disaster for them. They don't have the manpower to do that and to continue to pursue more serious crimes.
Now, we have seen numerous states go through this process. Are we seeing the governors reaching out to the Justice Department themselves going, help me?
Well, I think if they want to enforce the federal law, they're going to have to. Otherwise, they're going to have to watch their state become legal marijuana dispensaries, and people from other states are going to be coming to these states to purchase it. So if they want to put a stop to it, they have no choice but to reach out to the federal government and the U.S. Attorney's offices. Otherwise, it's going to be open market for marijuana.
Well, at this point, though, states' rights trump, or do they not?
Federal law would trump state law in this situation.
Okay, so the feds could come in, if they so chose to, and start busting people.
They could. They could charge them under federal law for federal drug violations. For most crimes, you could either be charged federally or by the state or by both. And this is a situation where Washington is now saying marijuana is legal. The federal government, FBI, DEA, can come in and bust you for possessing that 1 ounce in your house that you're smoking, or if you're lighting up a joint, you could be arrested by the feds.
We're talking with Nishay Sanan. He is federal criminal defense attorney in Chicago. One should assume, if they happen to be in Colorado or in Washington or in any other state that allows this, if you happen to be walking by an FBI agent and you're smoking pot, they're going to bust you and you would actually be facing charges.
Yes, I think if you openly do it in front of an agent, you're going to be the first one to be arrested, even though the state law says you can do it. I think, again, though, DEA is not going to be tracking, the individual user who's just using it here and there. But if you try to walk in somewhere and buy a kilo of marijuana, the feds will be cracking down your door.
Nishay Sanan, federal criminal defense attorney in Chicago. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.